and welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be going through all the movies that I watched in the month of March. I watched 20 movies in March and some of them I actually had quite a few 5 stars, more so than the other previous months. So I'm quite excited to go through the movies that I watched in March. So let's start off straight away with the first one that I watched was Goodbye Christopher Robin, which came out in 2017. I gave this 4.5 stars and I really enjoyed it. It was definitely different than what I thought it was going to be, and I'm definitely looking forward to rewatching it. There's a lot of movies that I've watched this year that I'm really looking forward to rewatching. I think that so far the beginning of this year's releases has been more exciting. Blu-ray releases, sorry, the beginning of this year's Blu-ray releases has been more exciting than the beginning of last year's, or probably the years before as well. So I feel like it is a good year for Blu-ray releases. So I guess 2017 was a good year for movies because that's what's still coming out on Blu-ray. Goodbye Christopher Robin was a really great true story film, and it was really cute and sweet. Obviously it was about Christopher Robin, but as the boy rather than the fictional character, and I thought it was so interesting. The little boy who was in this film did a fantastic job. I think his acting was great. Margot Robbie was in this as the mother and she was fantastic. And the father of Christopher Robin, who obviously was A.A. Milne, he was played by the guy from About Time, who I always love. I think he's fantastic and he was brilliant in this as well. So I loved Goodbye Christopher Robin. The next film that I watched was actually my least favourite film of the month, and it was Bringing Down the House from 2003. This has Steve Martin and Queen Latifah in, and it just really wasn't a very great film. It was very weirdly racist. Like it did loads of random things, and it felt uncomfortable and weird. So I really wouldn't recommend this film. It could have been fun and it could have been funny, you know, it's got a good cast, but it just wasn't. And then it had this uncomfortable racist moments. And I've looked into it and other people definitely agree, because I thought, is it just me? Am I getting some weird vibes from this? No, it's definitely, you know, a lot of people have mentioned it. It's very weird and uncomfortable, so I wouldn't recommend that one. It was a movie that was on one of my shelves to watch, so I watched it and I've now unhauled it. I gave it 2 stars. I don't think I said what I gave it, so I gave it 2 stars. And I wouldn't really recommend that one. Next one that I watched was Thor Ragnarok from 2017. I gave this 5 stars. I feel like it was kind of just a 5-star, like it wasn't like 5 completely, it kind of just made it to the 5-star point. Thor is my favourite superhero, but again, this actually isn't my favourite Marvel movie, but I really did enjoy it. It's probably my favourite Thor movie. I really loved the new female character. There was this kind of main new female character, I've forgotten her name. She was fantastic, and it's funny because she's actually from the TV show Veronica Mars. That's where I knew her from, and I was like, oh my god, I recognise her, and I was like, ah, Veronica Mars. And she was really, really good. I really like her. I hope she'll be in more stuff, you know, coming up. She's actually in 2 films that I watched this month, so I'll talk about the other one later, but I really, really liked her. Obviously Thor was awesome. I liked the Hulk, you know, it was a good fun film. It was funny, it's Marvel. I enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. I'll be looking forward to watching it again, but it wasn't quite my favourite film of the month. The next one I watched was Happy Death Day from 2017. Also, I gave this 3.5 stars, and it was very different than what I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be a bit more horror and maybe a bit more gory, but it wasn't really that. But I still really, really enjoyed it, and I would definitely watch it again. It's one of those relive the day films, which you guys know if you've watched my channel for a while. I love the repeat the day films, so I was obviously going to enjoy Happy Death Day. It was fun, you know, she keeps dying and has to relive the day again and then try and figure out different ways to not die. It had some interesting twists and turns, so I would recommend it. And if you were kind of not into the horror genre, so you weren't sure if you'd enjoy this one, I wouldn't say that it was horror. I'd say it was, I don't even know, that's the thing, I don't think it was horror though, but it was very fun. It was more like a teenage type of film, to be fair. You know, she's in college and I don't know, it was fun though, I enjoyed it. The next one on my list is Murder on the Orient Express, again from 2017. I gave this 3.5 stars. I had read Murder on the Orient Express quite a few years ago because I love Agatha Christie books, and I gave the book about 4 stars, and Murder on the Orient Express, the book, is actually my least favourite, but obviously I still enjoyed it, my least favourite Agatha Christie book that I have read, because I always found the end result not too satisfying. And again, obviously I knew that going into this film, but I was looking forward to seeing how it would be adapted because I hadn't seen any of the older classic adaptations of this. And I think visually it looked very nice. I thought it was enjoyable. I thought they did a good job. But again, I gave it 3.5 stars because it was good, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. But I kind of knew I wouldn't because the story isn't one of my favourites, if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, my favourite Agatha Christie book is And Then There Were None, which maybe is like a bit of a cliche pick, but I just love And Then There Were None. And then I tried watching the adaptation of And Then There Were None, the BBC one, that I think was a couple of years back, and I didn't get into it too much, so I feel like I'm definitely more of an Agatha Christie book person than the adaptations. I just really get into the books. But yeah, it was good. I'm glad they did like a big cinematic release of an Agatha Christie book, but I feel like maybe a different one would have been more interesting. But I know that Murder on the Orient Express is such an iconic kind of classic one that a lot of people do enjoy. So I don't know. The next one that I watched was A Bad Mum's Christmas from 2017. Again, I gave it 3.5 stars. Again, we seem to be on a run here. And I actually really enjoyed this. I will be watching this again at Christmas time. Obviously, I didn't watch it at Christmas. I watched it in March. It's got Christian Bale in, who I really enjoy, obviously, because of Veronica Mars. It had Susan Sarandon in, who was actually my favourite character in the film. I thought she was really good. And I just really enjoyed it. But I'm a real sucker for Christmas films. So I felt like the first Bad Mums I thought was okay. And then this one, again, it wasn't amazing. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's definitely not like a good film. But I have a bit of a soft spot for it because it was Christmas themed and it was cute and it was fun. And so anything with a bit of a Christmas theme around it, I end up liking more than the typical, if it was just a typical film. So I enjoyed it. I'll be watching it again at Christmas. So yeah, there we go. The next one that I watched was a rewatch, and it was Paddington from 2014. I gave this 4 stars. This is my 4th time watching it. The first time I watched it, I actually gave it 4.5, then I kind of dropped it down a little bit. But I really love this film. It's really cute. It's very British. I could again watch it a bunch going ahead in the future. And obviously I rewatched it because Paddington 2 was coming out in March, so I just rewatched it to prepare for the sequel. Josh had never seen this first one, so I wanted him to watch it before we watched the sequel, and I really enjoyed it, as I had the other previous times. The next one that I watched was The Killing of a Sacred Deer, that came out in 2017. I gave this one 3.5 stars, but I'm a bit stuck on what to say about it. It was a really weird film, which I kind of knew going in, but I thought it was really interesting. I was gripped throughout the story. There's not really much you can say about it because I didn't know much going in. So it surprised me, it was interesting, and you were never quite sure what was quite going on, and you were trying to figure things out. So it was an interesting watch, but I don't know if I'd rewatch it. Because it's one of those, it's like when you're watching it, it's more of an experience of, oh, what's going to happen here? And oh, you're not quite sure, and then that's the fun of the film. You're not really quite sure what quite is going on, and the whole time the way that it's filmed and the way that it's set up is fantastic. You're always like, oh, I think something's weird here, and I'm not sure about this. And it was filmed fantastically, and it was really well done. And to be fair, I really thought the end was great as well. I really liked the whole film, but there was just something about it that I feel like I wanted a little bit more in certain areas. In some parts it was a little bit slow going, and I wanted a little bit more from it. And then again, I don't know if I would rewatch it, so I gave it 3.5, but it was an interesting watch. Okay, the next one is The Florida Project from 2017. I gave this 4.5 stars, and I loved this film. I feel like it's one of those films that people would either really enjoy or they really wouldn't. I know that, for example, my mum probably wouldn't enjoy this film. The film is centred around these kids, the main one being, I think her name's Mooney, and she is so cute, and see, I really liked her. She's like an annoying little kid that keep doing things, messing about all the time. They live in this motel place, and there's like 3 kids that then are kind of going around, and then there's like 2 main kids. Anyway, and it basically is centered around these kids, and it's just kind of them and their life, and it's a lot of different things. Kyle Haynes actually said about this film that it's a joyful film about a joyless subject, which I thought was perfect because it really does sum it up. There's a lot of things that go on in this film. They're a little bit dark, but it's just it still feels like a feel-good film. So it's just a really interesting one, and I would have given it 5 stars because I've been desperate to rewatch this, and I really just enjoyed it a lot, but the end, I know a lot of people who liked the end. I didn't particularly like the end, but that's just because I like to know completely how things will end, and I feel like it didn't do that. I feel like I get why it did the end it did. I just didn't like the end, and I was disappointed by the end, and I want more of the film. Like, I really got into the characters. I felt like I was close to the characters, and then the end didn't satisfy me for the end that I wanted. But I still really want to rewatch it. But I was a little bit disappointed by the end. But I'd really recommend it. But again, I don't think it's for everyone. I feel like you'll either really like it or you just really won't. And for me, I just really, really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. So I loved the Florida Project. The next one on my list is Paddington 2 from 2017. Again, you knew this was coming up. I gave this 3.5 stars. I feel like a lot of people loved this film. But I just rewatched the first one and I thought this second one was going to be better. So I thought it was really good. I thought it was really cute. I definitely would watch it again. I loved, is it Brendan Gleeson? Brendan Gleeson, I think so. I loved his character in it. I thought it was fun and cute, but I just don't think that I'd say it was better than the first one. But now, in hindsight, I probably would end up giving it 4 upon a rewatch. But it's just that thing where when you have really high expectations for something and people have been really saying good things about it, and you go in to watch a film and it's not quite up to the level you thought it was going to be, I feel like then that always hinders your experience to the film, if that makes sense. But I thought it was a really good film. It's really cute. Again, lots of British fun. This one has Hugh Grant in, who was fantastic, and it's got lots of, you know, great actors and actresses in it, and I did really enjoy it. But I just felt like I enjoyed the first one a little bit more. Yes, that's Paddington 2. The next one was also a rewatch, and I rewatched Parkland from 2013, and I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed Parkland. I like to watch films about JFK, or I suppose that's not actually true. I've watched quite a few things about the assassination of JFK, but not much about himself, to be fair. I saw this years ago, and I always thought it was really interesting. It was when I kind of knew less on the subject, and now that I know a bit more and I've watched quite a few more things on it, I wanted to revisit it. I thought it's a really good, interesting story, and it has some great casting as well. So overall, I enjoyed Parkland, but I don't have a massive amount to say about it. I just wanted to rewatch it, so I did. The next one on my list is actually a 2018 release, which is kind of surprising for me this early on in the year. It rarely happens. However, they put it onto Netflix. I'm not sure whether it even came out in the cinema. I'm a bit confused, but it was Annihilation. So a lot of people have been talking about it. It came onto Netflix in March. I watched it in March, and the reason why I watched it, it's got Natalie Portman in, who I always enjoy. It's got a great female cast, Annihilation has, which I really liked about it. And the girl who was from Thor Ragnarok was also in this. This is that film I was talking about. And again, she was great. I loved her. I want to see her in more stuff. She was fantastic. This is a really interesting, weird film. And the thing was, Josh read the book Annihilation, I think about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And he really enjoyed it. He thought it was really interesting. And so he was really excited to see this adaptation and see kind of where it had gone. So we watched it, you know, pretty soon on after it had gone into Netflix. And I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was good. It was interesting. It was very, very weird, which I did kind of know because obviously Josh had talked about the book a bit. But I don't know. Does that make sense? I think that originally the book is a trilogy. And again, I'd known quite a bit about the book because I knew I wasn't going to read it, so Josh told me quite a bit about it. The book's a trilogy, and the way they did the film, I think they just concluded it so there's only one film. That's pretty much what we got from it. They kind of changed the end and wrapped it up, which a lot of times things do with adaptations. And I feel like I just wanted to know a bit more. I don't know. I thought it was good, it was interesting, it was weird, and I think it was very different than any other films we have, which I'm definitely interested in seeing more films that are kind of different. Does that even make sense? The cast was very good. I thought it was an interesting watch, but would I watch it again? I'm not sure. I don't know. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Annihilation. I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting, but I'm not sure 100% on my thoughts. Natalie Portman was great. It's one that stuck with me though, actually, throughout the month. I'm still thinking about it, so that's always a good thing. The next one on my list is Daddy's Home 2 from 2017. Now, I feel like everyone's going to be like annoyed about the rating that I gave this. This isn't really a very good film, but I gave it 4 Okay, because it's a Christmas film again. Okay, Daddy's Home 2 is a Christmas film. Similar to Bad Moms Christmas, to be fair. And it got me in such the Christmas spirit. I felt so festive and so happy. I don't know what it was. I just felt so cheerful after I finished watching this film. And it really was an uplifting film in a weird way. There was a scene towards the end, I really loved the scene towards the end, and I was like, oh, that was kind of when for me, it went through a 3.5 film that was just okay and average, so then it got to a 4-star because it gave me emotions that Christmas films do, and I wasn't even watching it at Christmas, and I felt so festive and happy, and I really don't know, I don't know what happened, but I'm really looking forward to watching Daddy's Home 2 again when it's Christmas, because I think it's a great Christmas film. I like it as a Christmas film. It's going to be one that I probably watch every year now at Christmas. That's why I gave it 4 stars, because it's going to become, I think for me, a staple Christmas film. So that's why it got the 4 stars. It's not amazing, it's cheesy, and it's, to be fair, it kind of reminds me of, but not as good as, National Lampoon's, Christmas Vacation, which is a film that I watch pretty much every Christmas for years. It's kind of that kind of silly slapstick humour, but obviously National Lampoon's is better, that's kind of more classic, and this isn't quite at that level, but it's kind of that type of film. And then it did have quite a bit of heart towards the end, it was funny, and I enjoyed it. The next one on my list is Fever Pitch from 2005, or The Perfect Catch, depending on what region you live in. I gave this 3.5 stars, I really quite enjoyed it, but I actually talked about this one quite a bit in my video that I uploaded yesterday, which is my one shot at a time, so I won't go into too much detail on this. But I did enjoy it. Drew Barrymore's character was really great in this, and I will probably watch it again in the future. The next one on my list is Just My Luck from 2006. This was a Lindsay Lohan movie. It was kind of just really average and okay. I gave it 3 stars. It was what you expected. It was maybe more of a 2.5, and then it kind of just got to a 3 because it wasn't, it was enjoyable enough. I wouldn't watch it again, but it was enjoyable enough. The next one is Only the Brave from 2017. I gave this 5 stars. I loved this. I thought it was fantastic. It was about the Granite Mountain hotshots, and I just felt so emotional watching this and so connected to the characters. I thought the way they did the story was fantastic. I loved that they didn't just jump into things. I loved that it built up the characters, and I just loved this film. I thought it was fantastic. I can't wait to revisit it. It's not one that I'd revisit straight away, but I definitely will revisit it at some point soon, in the next 6 months, say, I'm hoping, and I really thought it was fantastic. If you haven't seen Only the Brave, I definitely recommend it. I feel like it hasn't gotten the hype that it deserved, but I thought it was really fantastic. Again, it's obviously based on a true story. It's a sad story, but it's a very good, well done film, I felt. The next one on my list is Megan Levy. Is that how it's pronounced? Megan Levy from 2017, or it's also called Rex, again depending on where you live. My version is called Rex. This is from 2017. I gave this 3.5 stars. This was a good film. I really did enjoy it, but I feel like I was expecting to enjoy it a bit more, and I was expecting it to be different. I feel like, again, that sometimes happens when you're expecting something to be a different type of film and you go into it and it's something that you weren't expecting. Sometimes that can hinder your rating the first time around. I thought it was going to be a little bit more war based. They did go to war, in Iraq, and then, but there was a lot more outside to that, which I suppose if you're not into war films, but you like dog films, you might like this because it's not too war heavy. I feel like I'm not making any sense. I don't know. It's based on a true story. I'd watched Only the Brave the night before, which was based on a true story. They're both very different films, but Only the Brave blew me away and I felt very emotional watching it. Rex, I feel like I was thinking I would have the same effect with, but it didn't quite reach that level. So I gave it 3.5. I feel like it's a high 3.5. It's more of a 4, 3.5, but it just didn't quite get to the 4. Like, it was a bit on the fence between 3.5 or 4, so that is that one. The next one on my list is Wonder from 2017. I gave this 5 stars, and again, I'm a bit torn between which film is my favourite of the month. I'm not sure if my favourite is Wonder or if my favourite is Only the Brave. I don't know. I loved Wonder. Like I say, I gave it 5 stars. I'd read the book before I watched the film, and I actually preferred the film to the book. I'm desperate to rewatch this film again soon. I thought it was really good, it was emotional, and it was just, I feel like it was just an important film about a lot of different things, actually, more so than just the main overall flowing concept. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I love Julia Roberts. She was fantastic in this. The little boy who's played by, oh, what's his name? He's the little boy from Room. Jake, I've forgotten his name. I'll click on the thing actually because he is fantastic in everything that he's in, so it's worth mentioning his name. And now it's like taking ages to load. Okay, his name is Jacob Tremblay. You know, I nearly said that, but I wasn't sure. Jacob Tremblay, he is fantastic always. I'll always look forward to seeing what he's in and watch films with him in because he was brilliant. When I first saw him in Room, he blew me away. Again, he was fantastic in this. It was an amazing film. And again, I couldn't pick a favourite really. It's Wonder and Only the Brave were fantastic and I loved them both. And they're my top films of the month. The next one is quite a big deal because it's a 2018 film and I went to the cinema to see it. The last time I went to the cinema was 2015. I went to the cinema to see this film, not necessarily because I wanted to go to the cinema to see this film, but because I had a cinema voucher actually. And I've been waiting to pick a film to go and see it with. And I decided, yeah, I want to go see this. So I went to see Tomb Raider at the cinema. And I gave it 4.5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. It was definitely more like the new games on the PlayStation 4. It kind of had that theme running throughout. I'd played those games, so I kind of knew the story and a bit of the background. I just really enjoyed it. Again, other people might not enjoy it as much as me. I don't know if it's because I don't go to the cinema and I went to the cinema that I enjoyed it more than I would have typically. But I will be picking this up on Blu-ray when it comes out, and I will be watching it again straight away because I've been really looking forward to watching it again. I loved the new Tomb Raider. Again, I don't know her name, so let's click on her as well. I actually wasn't a big fan of the original Tomb Raider films with Angelina Jolie because they weren't quite what I wanted Tomb Raider to be. This was more what I wanted Tomb Raider to be. Alicia Vikander? Yeah, Alicia Vikander. She was great. I loved her as Lara Croft. I'm looking forward to the sequel. I thought it was fantastic. Again, if you really like the original ones, you might not enjoy this one as much. But for me, because I played the games, this was more of what I wanted it to be, if that makes sense. And I really, really enjoyed it. So, loved that. Looking forward to rewatching it again when I pick up the Blu-ray. And the final film that I watched in March was a rewatch, and it was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And this has Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey. And I rewatched this because I wasn't sure. It was one that was on my shelf a few months back, and I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to keep it, but I knew that I wanted to rewatch it before I decided. And I rewatched it, and do you know what? I really just enjoyed it. It's kind of cheesy and it's kind of cliche and it's a little bit annoying in parts actually, but I gave it 3.5 stars and I would watch it again. This was the thing. I thought after I finished watching it, a few days went by and I thought, do you know what? I would sit and watch that film again, like now. It's just one of those films. I would just watch it again happily. I really liked the end. The middle part sometimes gets a little bit frustrating because of the plot of the story. But the end is just cute and it's fun. It's a great romantic comedy. Again, I don't think it's to everybody's taste because it can get a little bit annoying just due to what they're trying to do in the plot. But I really liked it. I'd watch it again. So I will be actually keeping hold of that one. But yeah, so those are all the films that I watched in March. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let me know your favourite film that you watched in March. I'd love to know your favourite March watch. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching this video. Goodbye!